Everybody has a story about poo, and if they don't, then they're lying and it was just so bad that they don't want to tell you about it. Whether it's a horrific incident where someone else vandalized your house, you ate something that exited a little too quickly, or you got into a battle with a random NPC and they popped their ult. Just me on the last one? Okay, moving on. I've unfortunately been blessed with running into quite a few of these crappy scenarios, two of which I'll be sharing with you, YouTube, for some reason. From 2022 to 2024, every summer I would go to this camp called Camp Pathfinder, which was different from most camps because we would go on these several-day trips, leaving the camp into the woods, canoeing and portaging through them, which was pretty awesome. During my second year of being at that camp, we had started off by going on a warm-up 4-day trip, and there were 5 other guys and 3 counselors. The other campers I was going with had the perfect blend of adventurers, good spirits, and retardedness, which made some of the greatest stories of my life. I think it was this evening of the second day of the trip, and I was in the tent chilling after a long day of canoeing and portaging. When I got a little thirsty, so I left the tent to grab my water, which was laying around somewhere. When I got back to the tent, I noticed that one of the campers was squatting by the water washing his underwear, which I thought was kind of weird, but I didn't really think much of it, and I went back into the tent to sleep. Half an hour later, I left the tent and saw everybody around this guy absolutely flaming his ass for something. So I went to investigate. Some things you should know about this guy is he was named after a king. I won't say the king's name, obviously, but I'll just call him Bartholomew Maxwell III. And he was chill, but a very weird guy. On this fateful day, he had the profound realization that he needed to take a shit, but he didn't want to use the treasure boxes. The treasure boxes, also known as thunder boxes, are these literal wooden boxes that are exposed to the open, that have a lid, and you lift up the lid and you just poo in them and it goes into the ground, and you always get covered in mosquitoes when you're there. So even though it was his 4th year there, his fear was kind of justified. What he did next, though, was not justified. Instead of being a normal person and pooing near the lake where there's no bugs, or just holding it in until you need to go to the hospital, he devised the plan of all time. He went into the tent, pooed his pants, then walked down to the water and went in it to clean up like nothing had happened. Needless to say, people saw the floating log going down the lake and saw him washing his stained underwear and figured out what happened pretty quick. I'm just thankful I didn't have to sleep in the same tent as him, at least for that trip. We just kind of laughed it off and everybody stayed chill after that, but it was pretty gross. This next story is another camp story, and it's honestly something I thought I was going to keep to the grave, but instead I'm going to share it with a bunch of people on the internet because I don't see how that can go wrong. This story was also during my second year of the camp. I think it was immediately after the trip, and on that trip I had refused to go to the washroom, so I knew my time had come, I think the day after I got back. So I made my way to the camp bathroom, and the way the camp bathrooms worked is there were 2 large wooden structures with lots of screening for ventilation, and in the kids' side of the stalls, they had stalls, but there were no doors on the stalls. And then the counselors had it worse because their toilets didn't even have stalls at all, so they were just pooing in the open for anyone who walked by to see. I had been jump scared a few times because I had gone to the bathroom and washed my hands, and a counselor behind me said, "Yo, what's up?" And then I'd turn around and I just see them sitting bare-cheeked on the toilet, just talking to me. And also, just to be kind of clear, the toilets weren't toilets. They were a wooden box, and there was a toilet seat on them. So anyway, I was in my stall, if it really counts as being in the stall, and I really did not want to sit on it. It was nothing compared to the treasure boxes, but since I had refused to poo, I was not prepared for this moment. So I decided to do the hover method and just kind of pop a squat above the toilet and just try and poo from there and just cover my junk if anyone walked by. So I'm squatting above it for a while, and it takes a minute to get this out because I've been holding it back for so long. But I finally just finished dropping this beast, and I looked down intending to wipe, and I realized I made a horrible mistake. I had missed the toilet hole. My poo was resting contently on the side of the toilet seat, and I was so shocked I didn't even believe I did it. I literally rationalized that I must not have seen it before because I needed to go so bad. I eventually calmed down and realized I had to push it in and clean the seat before anyone noticed. But just then, my greatest fear happened. I heard footsteps approaching the bathroom. Shit, what do I do? Yo, what the fuck? Bro, look at this. My friend from Trip, we'll call him Fast, came into the bathroom. Luckily for me, two things were working in my favor. First, Fast was definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed, and sometimes even being dumber than Bartholomew, which was hilarious because if you ever didn't know something, he would act really condescending and call you dumb. And second, while I was contemplating what to do, my primal instincts kicked in, and I quickly switched stalls and sat my ass in the toilet because getting caught was way worse than seeing whatever diseases were on that seat. He was shocked at what he saw, and then he told me to look at the next stall, and I had to put my head around the corner and look all surprised, dude, what the hell, that's crazy. But I think my acting sucked, because the first thing he asked me, the first coherent thought he'd ever had, at camp at least, was it you? This made me panic, but it also made me lock in so my acting got better. And I was like, no, dude, what the hell? That's disgusting. Which he then asked if I saw the guy, and I just vaguely described someone that didn't exist. And that made him finally stop asking questions. Then we started making fun of this mysterious toilet seat pooper together. But his appearance gave me a huge problem because I could no longer clean the poo, because if I did, he would realize that I either did it or would think I'm really weird. And I couldn't wait for him to leave either, because then he'd go tell people to come back, and then when he got back and it was gone, he would realize I cleaned it. So I just kind of left it there and hoped for the best. The news spread around really quickly, and it became like a gag in the camp, but nobody knew it was me. Then 2 weeks later, I went back to the bathroom with some friends, and I realized that someone had been inspired by me because another person also pooped all over the seat, except theirs was much grosser because it was spread around and it was green. So I made a joke about the Bay Harbor pooper and had returned, and then we left, and I secretly plotted my next poop so I could annihilate this imposter trying to take my place. Is what I'd say if I was weird, but I was fine with this guy taking my porcelain throne. That was not a title I wanted. And then because of this, there was a camp assembly about pooing on the toilets and how you had to clean up after yourself. And they tried to hunt down the culprits, but they didn't find me, and I don't know if the other guy was found. But yeah, anyway, moral of the story is don't be gross, and if you are gross, be smart enough to escape being caught. Actually though, don't copy me. Please clean up after yourself so someone else doesn't have to. Thanks for listening to my gross stories, y'all. And I promise you they won't always be this weird. I just figured I should probably start off with a bang or a splash. I upload 2 other videos today, so go check those out and leave a comment if you want a part 2. And I'll catch you in the next one, especially if you're a turtle. Hey, I'm doing another end card here. I feel like I'm bringing them back. Probably not really. But just wanted to let y'all know that me calling people at the camp stupid and activities we did is I'm not supposed to be offensive, and it's all in good faith, because honestly all of us did really stupid things, so I'd be a huge hypocrite if I was calling people stupid. I'm just doing it to because we did really dumb stuff. This was just scratching the surface of what we did. These were the grossest things that happened, but they definitely weren't the stupidest. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff, and also, because that helps, I guess. But yeah, Merry Christmas. What? It's the middle of July. What am I talking about? Okay, I'm either gonna delete this or just leave it in. So anything to make 10 minutes, even though it's only gonna be 9 minutes.